If you're a regular reader of the blog or listener to the Internet Marketing Podcast, you'll probably already know that we fairly recently introduced a premium content area to the site where members can get access to all kinds of training videos, screencasts, best practice documents, ask us questions that we can respond to and interact with. And one of the things I've been trying to do to promote the service is to give some sort of free demos of the type of content that we're producing and giving to the premium subscribers. So what I've done here is record a little screencast that's kind of symptomatic of the kind of content that you would get on premium.internetmarketingpodcast.org. I'll leave a link below if you are interested in signing up for that service and provide a little bit more about it. But without further ado, I'll crack on to the topic in hand. When you're doing link building, it's a dynamic marketplace, and you need to be thinking not just about what you're doing, but what your competitors are up to as well. Now, that's always been a good part of any SEO strategy, but it's sometimes been a bit difficult to visualize the data behind that. So I started looking into ways of representing 2 or 3 different companies' link portfolios, and fell back to the classic Venn diagram that you probably remember from school, where you would look at things like, okay, you'd have in one circle things made of wood, and on the other circle you would have chairs. So there's 2 circles, and then the overlapping areas are wooden chairs. So you can do that with link data as well. So I'm going to take you through some ways that you can visualize that and then act upon that data once it's been visualized. So to do this, I'm going to start off using OpenSiteExplorer.org. Again, there'll be links in the footer below, giving you all the links here, which is a tool from SEO Moz. It's a free tool, but I'm going to be using some of the premium functionality of it here. So what I'm going to do in this test is I'm going to take 3 of the major UK national newspapers, so the Guardian, the Telegraph and the Times, and use them to look at the overlaps between the links of those different sites there. So I've already run and created these reports, so this can be a little bit more snappy, but it won't take too long to do that at all. So if you go to OpenSiteExplorer.org, type in the URL in question, it would by default take you to this report, which is linking pages. Now that'd be great, but if you're trying to look at overlaps, it's not really pages we're interested in, it's the domains. So if I click on this tab here that says linking domains, this then gives me a list of the domains. So you've got all the big ones here, Flickr, GeoCity, FeedBurner, Baidu, Typepad, of all the people who are linking to, in this case, the Telegraph's website. Unfortunately, on SEO Moz's OpenSite Explorer, they have the option here to download a CSV, which limits you to the first 10,000 domains. So in these cases, I'm going with those first 10,000 because anything below that probably is not really that important and data will get too complicated. So I would click to export that to CSV files, and I've already done that and downloaded those to my desktop for the Telegraph, the Times and the Guardian. Now, when you've got that data, what you need to do is go to a website that is great. It allows you to automatically create Venn diagrams. It's not perfect because it doesn't really deal with the areas of the overlap. So say, for example, to go back to the wooden tables, wooden as one group, tables as another group, and wooden tables in the middle as the overlap. In a true Venn diagram, it should represent the total area. So if there's millions of things made of wood, that should be bigger than the smaller things that are just tables, which could be made of different materials. But that will become apparent as I show you in the site here. So what I'll do is I've set this up so each of these different boxes is a data field to create the Venn diagram. So I've put in my names there. So I've got Telegraph, Guardian, Times, and the like there. So I'm just going to open up these downloaded CSV files with all the data from OpenSite Explorer. All right, perfect. This is open up in Numbers, the Mac-based Excel equivalent, but it would work equally the same on a PC. So what I'm going to do here, just to make my life a little bit easier, is I'm going to delete these files here, but this is the Telegraph's field. I'm going to delete that line there as well. And just take all the domains which are listed in column A. So this is for the Telegraph. I'll go back to Venny, go to the Telegraph field, and just merely cut and paste in the fields, the data from that spreadsheet. It will take a little bit of time because we are dealing with, 10,000 lines there. But that's gone through quite quickly and nicely there. So if I go back to numbers, get rid of the telegraph one there. I'm not interested in saving that. And then do exactly the same for the times. Inevitably, when doing a screen capture like this, where you're dealing with lots of data, numbers start to get a little bit slow. So apologies for the spinning wheel there. There we go. Select column A again. This one's for the times. Go back to Venny. Cut and paste in those data lines there. And instantly you'll see when this data goes in that the Venn diagram being demonstrated on the left hand side of the screen there should update. But like I say, when you're putting in quite a few of the fields in here, it does slow down slightly, but it doesn't take too long compared to some data processing that you might have to do for a little web app. This one, Venny, which the URL's at the top there, but I'll also provide a link. So it's bioinfo.cnb.csic.es/tools/Venny/index.html, and it's developed by a chap called Juan Carlos Oliveiros. It updates the data there. It's a nice little field there, nice and simple to do. So here you've got the standard kind of Venn diagram. So in the blue here we've got domains linking to the Telegraph. In the yellow we've got domains linking to the Times, and the grey area in between is those that link to both the Telegraph and both the Times. So this is quite interesting, but I really want to put in a third site because that'll give me even more interesting information. So if I go back to numbers, take the Guardian data here, so let's just delete those cells I don't need again, select all those in that column, cut and paste it into the final column here. That will then give me all those that link to the Telegraph, all those that link to the Times, all those that link to the Guardian, and the relationships between them. So this is where I was saying that Venny doesn't provide perfect Venn diagrams, because the overlap between the two there, both circles are exactly the same size even though they contain less data, and the overlap doesn't necessarily relatively represent the areas that you've got there. So we've now got all three fields in. So the blue circle is the Telegraph, the yellow is the Times, and the green is the Guardian. So these numbers represent the number of data fields, the unique linking domains to those sites. So what this is showing here, that there are 5,144 domains that only link to the Telegraph. Then there are 2,224 links that link to both the Telegraph and the Times. And this 4,333 are those that just link to the Times. This 1,161 are those that link to the Telegraph and the Guardian. This 1671 are those that link to all three of these different websites. And the 1267 is those that link to the Guardian and the Times. And the final figure is 5,595 that just link to the Guardian. So that's quite interesting. So you can see that there's a greater overlap in links between the Times and the Telegraph that might be to do with the political, similarity of the two there. And then the Times is closer in links to the Guardian than the Guardian is to the Telegraph. And then there's these 1,600 links, in the middle there that go to all of them. Now, this is where it gets quite clever. So if you see as I'm over any of these figures, they're going to an underlined text field. So if I click any of these, what appears in the box below here is an output. So this is showing me here those 1,600 links that go to all three sites. So if I was a competitor of these three sites, I would be taking very seriously those that are listed here, because if they're linking to all three of those sites and I'm a direct competitor of them, I would argue that there's a very strong case that they should be linking to you. And you can do this the same here. So that by clicking on the link there, that identifies just those that link to the Guardian, and those that overlap, and the like there. So unfortunately, it doesn't show the real scale there. So the area, all these three overlaps look exactly the same size when actually they're quite different in terms of the numbers that they represent. but the ability to take those 3 different lists, combine them together and extract them and kind of present this in a visual way that you could produce and include in a PowerPoint, I think is really quite powerful and will potentially have quite a good impact on how you carry out any link building campaigns.